Good day, everyone. So, I'm Christian De Fernando, BS Cream 4A of STI West Negros University. And my TED talk is about DNA in identifying criminals, no? So, first, let's discuss about what is DNA. So, DNA is a complex, long-chain molecule that contains the genetic blueprint for buildings and maintaining all living organism, no? Found in nearly all cells. DNA carries the instruction needed to create proteins specific molecules essential to the development and functioning of the body. It is also transfer hereditary information between generation. No? So DNA is a state-of-the-art procedure that can be used to identify individuals on the basis of their unique genetic makeup. While people may share the same eye and hair color and may even have similar facial features, they will not have the same DNA. This means the process can be useful and more accurately solving crimes. So forensic science can compare DNA found at a crime scene, no, from blood or hair. For example, the DNA samples taken from suspect, if there is no match, they may be able to rule out the suspect. If there is a match, no? Police will likely want to take a closer look. Such technology has revolutionized the criminal justice system over the past decades, increasing the likelihood of identify criminals with virtual certainty. This can make it not only easier to identify perpetrators, but just as importantly decrease the odds of mistakenly putting innocent people behind bars. In some cases, advances in DNA profiling have allowed law enforcement professionals to solve decades-old cases based on sample of DNA material such as fingernail clippings collected before DNA testing was possible. No? So DNA is generally used to solve crimes in one or two ways. In cases where a suspect is identified, a sample of the person DNA can be compared to an evidence from the crime scene. The result of this comparison may help establish whether the suspect committed the crime. In case where a suspect has not yet been identified, biological evidence from the crime scene can be analyzed and compared to offender profiles and DNA databases to help identify the perpetrator. Crime scene evidence can also be linked to other crime seen through the use of DNA database. No? So, for example, assume that a man was convicted of sexual assault. At the time of his conviction, he was required to provide a sample of his DNA, and the resulting DNA profile was entered into a DNA database. Several years later, another sexual assault was committed. A sexual assault nurse examiner worked with the victim and was able to obtain biological evidence from the rape. This evidence was analyzed. A DNA database and a match was made to the man's DNA profile. He was apprehended, tried, and sentenced for his second crime. In this hypothetical case, he was also prevented from committing other crimes during the period of his incarceration. When used to its full potential, DNA evidence will help solve and may even prevent some of the nation's most serious violent crimes. However, the current federal and state DNA collection and analysis statement needs improvement. No? So there are four. First, in many instances, public crime labs are overwhelmed by backlogs or analyzed DNA samples. Second, in addition, these labs may be ill-equipped to handle the increasing influx of DNA samples and evidence The problem of backlogs and lack of the date technology result in significant details in the administration of justice. Third, more research is needed to develop faster method for analyzing data evidence. Last, professional working in the criminal justice system need additional training and assistance in order to ensure the optimal use of DNA evidence to solve crimes and assess victims. No? So, it is also used, no, training prosecutor, defense attorney, and judge. No? So, first training in technical assistant for prosecutor to learn about solving cold cases with DNA evidence, responding to post-conviction DNA testing, request and development initiative, legal strategies to optimize the power of forensic DNA technology. Second, training for defense counsel, handling cases involving biological evidence on the application and limitation of DNA evidence. Grant fund will be made available to continuing legal education program or bar association to provide training and resources on forensic DNA technology. Next, training for judgment, who must be equipped with sufficient technical and scientific knowledge to make appropriate ruling in cases involving DNA evidence. Grant funds will be able to National Judicial Conference and Organization. So the DNA, the analysis of DNA for human identification purposes has become an integral tool in identifying victims of atrocities, unidentified dissidents, mass disaster victims, and individuals involved in police investigation. No? So the scientific basis for DNA testing is the variability in autosomal sex chromosome and mitochondrial DNA sequence among individuals. The type of forensic DNA analysis available include short tandem repeat typing, variable number tandem repeat typing analysis, single nucleotide polymorphism analysis using massive parallel sequences. So, let's discuss, no, the contribution of forensic DNA analysis. The value of DNA in individual cases in some crime type is demonstrable. The annual case resolution rate remains low for all recorded crime in England and Wales, with recorded crime representing roughly half of all the crimes committed according to the Crime Survey of England. DNA evidence, secondly, DNA is not meaningful in case where identify is not in question. No? In investigation where DNA evidence may be relevant, DNA analysis has a range of application. This can be categorized into four broad scenarios. A. Suspect individual corroboration or elimination crime. Stain to know personal matches. B. Cold hit identification of unknown suspect via crime stain to database. Archive references matches. DNA phenotyping. So next, discuss about measuring effectiveness of forensic DNA analysis. No? So forensic DNA analysis can make a valuable contribution to criminal investigation. No? The value of forensic DNA has also been enhanced since the creation of national DNA databases in the 1990s in the introduction of transnational exchange of DNA data in the 2000. The promise of preventing crime and improving the chance of catching offender have fueled the financial investment and development of DNA capabilities and legislation police. Attempt to measure the impact of forensic DNA analysis have examined several output and outcome of DNA related cases in DNA database outcome to offer better insight into the effectiveness of the use of forensic DNA that output measures such as match rates and investigation. The measure of effectiveness include the resolution of crime assessed by the estimation of DNA detection rate and or conviction rate. Deterrent effective, evaluated through qualitative surveys of offenders in criminal career, research through estimation of recidivism rate, cost saving, assessed through a cost-benefit analysis of financial investment into DNA analysis system, social, individual impact of the collection, retention, and use of DNA. So importance DNA is central to biotechnology and medicine by virtue of the fact that it not only provides the basic blueprint for all life, it is a fundamental determination of how the body functions in the disease process. Understanding the structure and function of DNA has helped revolutionize the investigation of disease pathways, assess an individual's genetic susceptibility to specific disease diagnosis, genetic disorder, and formulate new drugs. It is also critical to the identification of pathogens. So, last is to know no, about on how the importance of DNA to identify criminals. No, so the DNA is contains the instruction needed for an organism to develop, survive, and reproduce to carry out this function. DNA sequence must be converted into messages that can be used to produce proteins, which are that complex molecules that do most of the work in our bodies. That's all, and am high. Thank you.